Hi, I'd first of all like to welcome you and congratulate you on taking your first step towards standing in your power, taking control of your life, and asserting your needs. If you clicked on this link, it means that you already have the power within you to create this change in your life. And it means that a little spark has been ignited within you. So now you get to choose whether that little spark turns into a powerful fire that burns within you so that you can reclaim your power and step into your worth. Every single soul on this planet is worthy, and that includes you. You are deserving of having your needs met, and it starts right here. So I give you permission to make yourself a priority starting now. In this video training, I'll be sharing with you my 4 secrets to setting solid boundaries and actually sticking to them, because consistency is the most important thing to enable you to see results. And these results will show up in your life in the form of relieving anxiety, of getting more restful sleep, and of becoming more connected to your own needs and your intuition, and feeling more spiritually aligned. You'll also see changes in your relationships with others, and you'll begin to cultivate healthier and more balanced relationships with people who feed your soul rather than suck the life out of it. Okay, so before I start sharing the first secret with you, here is what I'd like you to know. This work is going to get uncomfortable. So be prepared for that and know that change can only happen if we give ourselves permission to get uncomfortable first. Now, you are here in this moment because what you are doing now is not working for you. And the only way to change that is to accept that this will be uncomfortable. So breathe into it in those moments when it does. And when that happens, keep looking ahead towards that light that you're heading towards. Because on the other side of this discomfort, there is a life of independence and freedom that awaits you. Okay, so without further ado, here is the first of the 4 secrets that I'd like to share with you today to maintain solid boundaries. Number 1, awareness. Now, it's important to be aware of what is drawing you towards your tendencies to overgive and people please. In order to interrupt this negative pattern, we must first become aware of what is drawing us towards repeating this cycle. And usually patterns like these start at a very young age. They're normally used as coping mechanisms to make us feel safe. So once we begin to associate these patterns with a sense of safety as children, it means that when we then become adults, our subconscious mind automatically goes to this same place of comfort and safety whenever we feel like we could be in some sort of danger. So for example, if people-pleasing kept you safe as a child because it kept you and those around you out of trouble, then this is where your subconscious mind will draw to each time you see this potential risk reoccurring in your adulthood. So with that in mind, let's see if we can build on your awareness of where these patterns may have originated from for you. So see if you can relate to these scenarios. So setting boundaries can feel especially hard if you are a very sensitive person who's very caring and empathetic towards others. If that's you, you might even notice yourself feeling the pain and suffering of others on such a deep level that it draws you towards wanting to give them more and more of yourself to help pull them out of that place. You might even feel what they're feeling in your own body. So you might feel a sense of relief or emotional fix out of trying to rescue them from their pain or fix their problem for them. This is especially common for highly sensitive children who grew up in a chaotic or a toxic environment because of their sensitivity to the emotions and moods of others. Highly sensitive children will often turn to people-pleasing or silencing themselves in order to try and calm the moods of the people around them, and therefore calm that overwhelming feeling that they feel within them because of the chaos around them. So these tendencies of overgiving and people-pleasing are usually developed in childhood and later become carried into adulthood. When a child is exposed to a controlling environment, they can become obliged to read or sense the moods of those around them so that they can adjust their behavior accordingly. And this is either to help keep the peace and avoid conflict around them, or it's to get attention. So as adults, they then seek comfort in reliving this pattern because it's familiar and it feels safe. And they'll become more subconsciously drawn towards toxic environments because it feels familiar and comfortable, as strange as that sounds. Then this coping mechanism of people pleasing or silencing themselves becomes triggered in order to enable them to survive through it. So in essence, the subconscious mind ends up mistaking history for safety. Does that sound like you? Okay, so here's another scenario. You might also often find yourself feeling like you can only be happy if others are happy too. And you might feel that if you help them feel happier, then it will enable you to feel happy as a result. So if both of those scenarios sound familiar to you, then you might just be an empath and a codependent. People who are very sensitive are often empaths too. It's because they tend to have a very sensitive and highly tuned nervous system, and they have an ability to sense the subtleties in their environment. Being sensitive is a beautiful thing, but we must also become aware of the negative patterns that we've developed over time in order to be able to break them. And when we end up giving too much of ourselves, we end up paying the consequences. We end up depleted, disconnected from our own needs, disconnected from our sense of identity, and we're less able to be of service to others in the best way for them, because we're constantly trying to pour from an empty cup. And the fact of the matter is that the more focus we put onto others, whether it's trying to meet their needs or trying to measure how they feel all the time, then we immediately begin to neglect ourselves and disconnect ourselves from our own needs. So when this becomes a repeated pattern that's been going on for many years, it leads to a place of total disconnect from your own identity. It takes you to this place of wondering, who am I anyway? Okay, so I hope this gives you some clarity on where those patterns may have originated for you. And I suggest writing these down. Sometimes journaling things allows you to work out the journey of how we got to this point and the stories that occurred in our past that led us here. Because awareness is really important in order to begin to break that pattern. Okay, so the second secret is this: claim your power back. Recite a mantra that reminds you that you are worthy and that you get to stand in your own power now. Then put your hand on your heart and feel the light and energy transfer through your hand and entering your body. This is the energy that you will want to carry with you before you take action on setting your boundaries. When we recite a mantra that reminds us of our worth, it gives us a boost of confidence, of courage. And when we become fearful and self-doubts creep in, we have a choice whether to give into that fear and self-doubt or switch to a more helpful thought or emotion, which is what your mantra is there to help you shift into. One of my mottos is, don't believe your thoughts. The only thing standing in your way right now from what you want in your life is you. When we don't stand in our power and give into that fear, we end up sabotaging ourselves. So fill yourself with that light and energy and recite your mantra, because it's now time to claim your power back. So the third secret is this: courage. Some people think that you have to be confident to be able to speak up for yourself and express your boundaries, but confidence always starts with courage. Courage means taking action regardless of fears and doubts. It means staring at fear in the face and saying, I see you, but I'm doing this anyway. So tap into that courage and use our mantra and visualization of that warm light and energy entering your body to give you that boost of courage. Then act with courage and make your request for your boundary. And the fourth and final secret is acceptance. Accept that some of your relationships will change. Now, this is a hard one because most people don't want to set boundaries because they know that there's a risk that some of their relationships will change. But the most important thing to realize here is that we are fearing this because the relationship is already unbalanced on some level. Reality is that we cannot hold on to everything from our past in order to move forward and create positive change for our future. Letting go is necessary to welcome in the new. We can only welcome in new and joyful things into our life if we first create space for them. And often creating space for them means letting go of other things that no longer serve us. When it comes to letting go, I like to think of the Marie Kondo method. When we let go of things that don't serve us, we can send it gratitude first, which can also mean communicating energetically, sending someone gratitude energetically and with love. It's important to send gratitude to things that we're leaving behind, whether the experience was negative or positive, because it was part of our life that has led us to where we are now and has taught us many lessons. So if your boundaries received gaslighting or disrespect, and you realize now that this relationship is no longer serving you for the life that you're working towards, then find acceptance by sending them gratitude and letting go. It's also okay to grieve relationships of the past. Sometimes it's necessary to make space for the new. Okay, so as I say all of this, you might be thinking, okay, I'll do it. But for now, I'll just keep this going for a little bit longer and then I'll do it later. Now, if that's you right now, then you're allowing those self-sabotaging patterns to return. You are allowing fear to get in your way all over again. And think about what the nature of these relationships are doing to you right now and where you will be 1 year from now if the nature of those relationships don't change. If we don't change anything, then things don't stay the same and they certainly don't get better on their own. They only get worse. Even rocks change over time. Just know that if you don't take action now, then you will not only waste another year of your life neglecting yourself and putting off your vision of what you want in your life, but you will also miss out on opportunities to serve not only yourself, but others, and give to others from a place of wholeness. Because when we serve others from a place of joy, that's a total game changer. It means that we're no longer rescuing them or doing everything for them or taking their responsibilities away from them. Because reality is that when we try and fix something for them, then we're actually taking away their power. And when we take away their responsibilities, we are showing them that they cannot be responsible for themselves. But when you serve others from a place of wholeness within yourself, then you're able to offer them your support whilst respecting that they are capable of helping themselves too, if they choose to. So be prepared to let go of things or people in your life that are not serving you. And the idea of this can be scary, and I get that, I understand. But it's also necessary if you want a better life for yourself.